Mr. Joyce, you've touched on this before, but you said you'll restore polling locations to precincts 2 and 3.
Sure.
Why is this a good idea, and what impact on cost would that have to the taxpayer? The other candidates will have the chance to respond.
Sure. Yeah, that is an important issue, restoring the polling locations for precincts 2 and 3. I think it's important because folks should be able to vote in their own neighborhoods, and frankly, it's a significant issue because, let's look at a scenario that's not at all unrealistic. Let's say we have a November election, and it's snowing, the weather is not good, and maybe for elderly folks it might be an issue getting to the polls on election day if they have to travel across town. It may be more convenient and easier for them to make it if they simply have to walk up the street to a polling location within their own precinct. And frankly, I'm confident that we can manage the cost. It's how we had done it for many years, having Precinct 2 vote at St. Mary's and having Precinct 3 vote at Glover. So I'm confident that we can sustain that minor cost.
Thank you. Ms. McKettrick?
Well, we have an election coming on the 24th, and we're going to be using the new locations. I think after that election and during that day, we're going to need to evaluate all of these issues, and we're going to have to hear from the public about them. If it is too inconvenient, if it's causing problems, it's going to be even worse in the winter. That's true. We're going to have a presidential election coming up in November. We need to make sure these are the right precinct locations. As far as cost savings go, I think it's partly logistics. The logistics are easier, I can see that, if you put more precinct locations if you limit the number of locations and you have more precincts in each location. You still have the same number of precincts, so you're not necessarily saving costs. You have the same number of people working at the polls and that kind of thing. It would probably be, it's important to look at cost. We should save money when we can, but we have to consider that the election process is about, it's democracy. And so it's really important to be paying attention to how easy it is for people to vote, or whether we're making it more difficult and more complicated, and thereby somehow impeding the democratic process.
Thank you. Ms. Galvin?
Well, it is the town clerk's role to make sure that every single person does have the opportunity to vote. And that being so, I think that having the polls in the locations that they are should be looked at, but with looking at them, it should be assessed as to the value of the cost versus the value of the people that are affected. I know that St. Mary's is not looking forward to us coming back. I don't think that they would let us come back. They were fearful for the students. There is a huge liability, especially with what has happened in the past with children getting injured, surely by accident. And they are a private institution. And they were doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, allowing us in there. So
1 minute, ma'am.
I don't know that they would allow us back in.
Mr. Joyce, you have 30 seconds.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, and in terms of the cost, I actually, at the beginning of this campaign, because I saw this as an important issue, I met with the police chief and talked to him about the cost of what it would take for, for those additional police officers to staff the additional polling locations, and he said it could be done. It's no problem. He said he was able to take on that cost. And again, let's not forget, this is voting we're talking about. This is an important civic duty. We shouldn't do anything that would marginalize certain precincts from voting. So I think it's very important. And finally, again, if I'm elected, I'm going to reduce my own salary because I think that's only fair to the taxpayers to do that. And so whatever additional cost was borne from restoring the polling locations, it would more than be offset by that.